Hi everyone! So if you can see the makeup look that I'm sporting today, it's basically all the Zoeva Spectrum Collection makeup line, and if you want to see my thoughts and reviews about my first impressions about the products, then just keep on watching. So I've already done my face base makeup, my brows. I'm just going to move on to the eyes, and I'm using the Zoeva Nude Spectrum palette. I'll insert close-ups. But basically I'm just gonna play around and see how I feel about the consistency, the formula, the pigmentation, and let you guys know if I like it or not and whether you should really pick it up, because you know, international brands are kind of not accessible as easily in Singapore, and if you do have to pay for the shipping costs, you want something that's worth your money. So yeah, I will leave all the links of where you can get this in Singapore, and if anything, whether you like it or not is each to its own, but for me, I'm just gonna give you my honest review so that you will gain the most out of it. So let's just get started. I'm just gonna prime my eyes with the NARS Pro Prime Smudge Proof eyeshadow base, which is usually what I do for every makeup look. To sweep all over the lid, I'm just gonna use this white shade so that the pigmentation of the rest of the shadows will stand out. Oh, it's actually a cream shade, it's not too much of white. It's really pigmented and it's really blendable. I like how it just masks all my veins on my lids. I'm gonna start with my crease. I'm gonna use the shade 105. It's like a taupey sort of colour. Yeah. Oh wow, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but it's really quite pigmented. I didn't dust it off, so this is one swipe, one application. Usually what I find is that for newer eyeshadow palettes or releases, I like to test the matte shades first, and that really gives me a gauge of the formula and the butteriness of the shadows, and this is really buttery. When I swatch it with my fingers, it's really finely milled, and that just shows that it's going to be easy to blend on the lids, which makes it easier for newbies and also for makeup artists who just want to layer the eye look and also make it versatile for your users. So I think it's really good so far. So I'm just mapping out the crease, and as you can see, it's really pigmented and I really like it. I'm gonna just use 102, which is like a bronzy shade with khaki undertones. To me, it kind of strikes like that. So as expected, it's really quite sheer, and also it's not too sheer that you can't really see what's on your eye. If you can compare this side with the crease, with the bare lid, with this side, you can see a slight sheen of bronze running through the lid, which I really like. So pretty much I can just go out like that with lashes and I'll be good to go, but I'm just gonna do the whole thing because it's Valentine's Day today. Yep, so for me that's pretty much both eyes done. I'm just gonna blow out the crease a little bit and also add a inner corner highlight. So I'm just gonna take it under my lash line so that I can balance the whole look out. I'm gonna use shade 110, put that in the center of my lid and also on the inner corner. If you can see that, it's really pigmented and buttery, which is good signs of eyeshadow palette if you're unaware. And the interesting thing is that the shadows can be built up on top of one another. It doesn't seem to cake up or even have any build up. It kinda, I think it's really finely milled that it can blend into one another, which is a really great thing. So because this palette, when I saw it, it has a matte black, and I really appreciate that in the eyeshadow palette, just cause you don't have to whip out, you know, your gel liner. You can just use the black shadow as a liner. So I'm just gonna test how opaque this is, and I'm just gonna spray my brush with a little bit of setting spray so that it will let the pigments adhere to the lid better. So that's really pigmented. However, it's not as smooth when you wet it as I thought it would be, but I have to test it out a little more to be sure. But for this, usually when I use a black shadow and do this, it isn't as hard to work with. Not that it's really difficult to work with, it's just not as glidable, if that makes sense. Yep, and that's the eye look done. I'm just gonna curl my lashes, and when I reach the next product, I will get back to you. Alright, now I'm gonna use the Nude Spectrum palette. It looks like this. It's a contour palette essentially. There seems to be 3 shimmer shades, or at least 2 shimmer shades, one slightly more glittery shade and another matte contour shade. So I'm just gonna play around with it. I'm gonna use 40 first, the matte shade. So I kind of like it. It's kind of sheer, and usually for a contour shade I look for something with ashy undertones, which this has, but it's not as pigmented. But the thing with me is that I usually use an eyeshadow as a contour shade, and I just find a specific taupey ashy color which I want. But this is really quite, it's interesting, but I can't really tell if it's a great contour palette with the intense sort of competition that's going on. So yeah, I'm just gonna use this slightly, I'm not really sure how to describe it, I'll show you in the swatches, but I'll just go over the contour to sort of blow out the harsh lines that I have on my face. Yep, so I really like it. It gives me a very healthy glow. I'm not the best sort of reviewer on contour palettes because this might be my first one or second one, but I like that it's user friendly, and for a newbie it's easy to use. So yeah, I can't really say any bad things about it. Moving on to their Pink Spectrum palette. It's their blush palette. I think I'm gonna use this shade. It's kind of my typical blush shade. Oh wow, it's really pigmented, if you can see. So be sure to dust it off so that you don't pack on too much product on your cheek. Yep, and as suspected, like the shadows, this is really pigmented as well. These are all first impressions, so if my review is kind of overall positive, check in the link below for how I feel about the products as the day progresses, and also for links of where you can get these products. Don't forget to dust it off. I like this more than I like the contour palette because it had a lot of shimmer shades, which I don't really use for a contouring sort of palette. I just like a lot of mattes. So yeah. Yep, I'm just gonna do my lips and I'll get back to you. Yep, so that's pretty much all that I have on my face, which is from Zoeva Spectrum collection. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this first impressions review, and do remember to check the description box for any other details. So with that, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye!